Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Leo pre-full moon meditation. The exact moment of the full moon will be at 6:26 p.m. GMT tomorrow, Monday, August 19th. During this special time, we celebrate the festival of Sirius, which Tuya will be honoring tomorrow during her exact moment full moon meditation. DK says, August, which is ruled by Leo, is the month of the dog star, or of Sirius, which thus brings Sirius into close relation to Leo. Leo, in the cosmic sense, and apart from our solar system altogether, is ruled by Sirius. Sirius is the home of that greater lodge to which our fifth initiation admits a man, and to which it brings him as a humble disciple. Later, when the New World religion is founded and is working, we shall find that the major monthly festival of August, held at the time of the Leo full moon, will be dedicated to the task of making contact via the hierarchy with Syrian force. So we'll start by taking a brief look at the astrological chart for the full moon. Which is a super moon. Supermoons, during which time the moon is closer in its orbit to Earth, tend to stimulate our emotions, and just in general intensify the overall influence of the moon. The energy of the Leo-Aquarian axis is all important in our journey from the separated self to group consciousness, the Leonian separated self-development to the Aquarian group consciousness development, from I am to I am that. Okay, there's a lot going on this month. There are two major T-squares, one on the fixed cross and one on the mutable cross. T-squares are made up of an opposition and two squares, and are one of the most powerful of all astrological configurations. They tend to promote strong action, direct, effective action, resulting in decisive effects in the world. The fixed T-cross, shown here, though affecting the entire world, highlights activities in the US because this full moon is only 5 minutes of arc. It's almost exactly conjunct from where the full moon was at 10 past 5 in the afternoon on July 4th of 1776 in Philadelphia, a time often used for the birth chart of the US. It just so happens that the US's Democratic National Convention will take place on the 19th, just after the full moon, very much under this electrically charged influence, an influence that promotes truth and awakening to one's authenticity, and anything that is not of the truth will be revealed, will be brought to light. In addition, the sun is conjunct Donald Trump's ascendant, and the moon is conjunct Kamala Harris's natal Saturn. This is a very tight, fixed cross T-square, with all three planets, the moon, sun, and Uranus, in the 27th degree of their sign. To say that this configuration represents revolutionary energy would be an understatement. For the first ray star Algol, shown here, associated with the Medusa myth, is still conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So Algol and Uranus together You talk about an electrically charged and electrically directed changes come through this aspect. This T-square is made even more potent by the fact that the moon, now in Aquarius, is the hierarchical ruler of Aquarius, and that Uranus is one of the planetary rulers in both Aquarius and Leo. This is a supercharged T-square. We also have a mutable cross T-square between Saturn, Jupiter conjunct Mars, and Venus. Venus in Virgo represents the gestating Christ principle, which is stimulated by its square to Jupiter, the hierarchical ruler of Virgo. Saturn in Pisces represents a time for healing and introspection in order to integrate spiritual understanding with practical reality. Taken together, the T-square represents balance between the masculine and feminine and between spirit and matter. So, very powerful chart for this full moon. Okay, let's take a quick look at Leo, whose exoteric keywords are let other forms exist, I rule, and whose esoteric keywords are I am that, and that am I. DK says, I am that refers to discrimination between the ego and the personality. This narrows the concept down to the sphere of a man's own consciousness and enables him to differentiate between his subjective self or soul and the bodies which hold that soul enshrined. This is not by any means so universally developed. Most men do not as yet distinguish with accuracy between themselves as the thinker, persistent in time and space, and the vehicle through which they think, which is ephemeral and transient. The real recognition of this essential duality and the scientific appreciation of it is to be seen in the mystics, the advanced thinkers of the race, the conscious aspirants, and those nearing the portal of initiation. A higher stage is discrimination between soul and spirit, or the realization by the man that not only can he say, I am, not only can he realize that I am that, but he can advance to a still further realization and say, I am that I am. If we say, I am that I am, this keyword becomes if we say, I am that am I, this keyword becomes a palindrome, which means that it's the same in both directions. The yellow circle shown here represents personality identification, the home of the I as the separated self. When we expand the separated I am to include I am that, we come to know the personality-soul duality. When we move further inwards to the central point, we discover the true source of self. I am that am I. When reversed, the I as essence manifests through that which is the soul, which in turn precipitates the personality. When we realize the unity of both the inner and outer spiralic movements, we begin to gain a fuller understanding of self. There's also another way of viewing this progression. Each of the 6 astrological axes represent an aspect or quality of growth. The Leo to Aquarius axis represents the path of I am, from I am, the stage of individual self-consciousness in Leo, to I am that, or group consciousness in Aquarius, as emphasized by this month's full moon chart here in this axis, stimulated by both Uranus and Algol. So a great time to make a move towards soul infusion. Okay, let's take a look at the Heraclean labor associated with Leo. The slaying of the Nemean lion, here illustrated by Beauchart Joffre. The number of this labor, the fifth, is particularly important because 5 is the number of man, who is a divine son of God, plus the lower quaternary through which he manifests. So the 1 of the divine son of God in association with the lower quaternary makes the 5. DK tells us that it is in Leo, the 5th sign, that man becomes the 5-pointed star, symbol of the human being who becomes aware of himself as the self, and thus as a member of the 5th creative hierarchy. The Nemean lion represents the strength of the integrated but still self-centered personality. The labor, which requires fearlessness, patience, and cunning, is to subordinate one's self-focused awareness to the will of the higher self, thus preparing oneself for discipleship. Okay, with that reminder, let us begin our meditation. So spines erect, start to use regular breathing to calm your physical vehicles and check in on astral levels, calm any emotions that might be acting out there. Now let us lift our focus onto the mental plane and enter into the presence of the soul. It is through this contact that we move into a field of light, a field of love, and of spiritual power. Now, let us merge ourselves as individual souls into a deep sense of the group soul. We can facilitate this merging by visualizing a ring of white light with each of us as points within that ring. And at the center, the Master DK, who is one with our group soul. As our unity strengthens, let us extend this sense of inclusive connection out to the spiritually minded people of the world, including all men and women of goodwill. Now, in an act of still further extension, let us visualize our group soul merging into the one soul of humanity. In this act of inclusion comes the realization that there is no my soul and thy soul. In fact, it is in the living awareness of this unified field of consciousness that we can truly say, not is, but me. Now, holding this point of tension, let us together visualize a potent point of energy within the mental unit, demonstrating as the color of your soul ray. This point of tension will form the foundation of your individual antakarana. If you don't know your soul and personality rays, use the second ray of indigo. Single pointed focus to create this point of tension. Now visualize your dual colored individual antakarana bridging the higher subplanes of the mental plane and thereby connecting the mental unit with the monastic permanent atom. This is an imaginative exercise. Now let us each imagine our individual antakaranas merging into the group antakarana, which glows with all the 7 colors, but primarily the deep indigo blue of the second ray. From this place of group identification, let us affirm the great word of power, I see the greatest light. Now, from the point of group tension on the mental plane, let us imaginatively project a line of vivid, living white light into triadal realms. This group light is met by a light from on high. In the presence of this great light of the spiritual triad, let us as a group attempt to feel the presence of the great white brotherhood, the Lodge of Masters, the spiritual hierarchy of our planet. Now, with heartfelt gratitude, let us offer our salutations to the masters and to the head of the hierarchy, the Christ. Salutations to the Buddha, the Lord of light and wisdom. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all masters. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we work most closely. Salutations to the Master Morya. Salutations to the Master Kut Humi. Salutations to the Master Dual Kul. Salutations to the spiritual hierarchy of our planet. Now, in continued identification with the group soul, let us lift our focus to Shambhala, with the center where the will of God is known, and with deepest reverence and humility, attuned to the presence of Sanat Kumara, standing at the center of Shambhala. It is in this heightened state that we can come to realize that Shambhala is the planetary center through which the energies of the constellations and the planets enter our world to be distributed to all living beings on Earth. Now, let us align with the spiritual qualities emanating from the three planetary rulers of the sign Leo, the sun itself as the central star of our solar system and vehicle for the solar logos. Neptune, as it is esoterically veiled by the sun, and Uranus, as it is hierarchically veiled by the sun. Let us first ponder on the power of the sun, the vehicle of the solar logos called Helios, soul, and the Most High. In our solar system, this great being is the, quote, one who stands alone, the great archetype for all life in our solar system, the source of our egoic and monadic selves. Let us, in our continued identification with the group, attempt to fathom the all-inclusive potency of this great being, the source of the vitality and consciousness of every kingdom and nature on every planet within the ring pass knot of the solar system. Let us imaginatively merge into this great unity, realizing as we do so that monadically our true home is within the sun. Let the power of this knowing create within our little group an unbreakable alliance with this fundamental source of our being. Now, from this high point of tension, consider how you, your group, this group, might best channel the vitality and transformative energy that come to us from the solar logos into the human energy system. Let us together, imbued with these divine solar qualities, transmit them to all humanity. Now let us shift our focus to Leo's esoteric ruler, the sun veiling Neptune, conveying the power to experience the solar flames as they are focused within the heart of the sun. Let us together visualize the alignment which leads from the heart of the sun through Venus, through Sanat Kumara, the Lord of Venusian love, through the Christ and his hierarchy, on through to this group soul, and finally into the centers of the heart centers of all members of our little group. Feel the warmth of this Neptunian solar fire as it glows within the group heart center. From this place of depth and silence, consider how you, the groups that you are affiliated with, this group, might best channel the transformative power of pure love that comes to us from this solar Neptunian stream. Now, holding this high point of tension, immersed in this solar Neptunian energy. Let us transmit it outward to all humanity. And finally, let us shift our focus to Leo's hierarchical ruler, the sun veiling Uranus, the transcendental will aspect of the solar logos. Let us attempt to sense the electric fire of pure spirit emanating from the sea of fire, passing through the realm of the monad, through the spiritual triad, into the jewel in the lotus, and finally expressing purposefully through the central jewel in each of our crown centers. From this transcendent place of pure will and divine power, consider how you, the groups that you are affiliated with, this group, might best channel the transformative power of pure spirit that comes to us from the solar Uranian stream. Let us together, imbued with the essence of this solar Uranian stream, transmit it outwardly to all humanity. Okay. Now, through attunement with the solar logos and its great second ray, let us turn our focus toward the sunshine of the major sun, the star Sirius, and its great logos, who is the teacher, guide, and initiator of our own solar God. Let us align our group consciousness to the Sirian stream, especially potent at the time of the Leo full moon. As we align, consider the fact that this stream from Sirius is the source of the law of karma, the law of freedom, which has the power to elevate all beings within our solar system. Realize also that our spiritual hierarchy is patterned after and aligned with the greater hierarchy on Sirius, and that the electric fire bestowed through the rods of initiation throughout our solar system has its source in the Great Lodge on Sirius. Now let us turn our attention to the constellation Leo, radiating its particular quality of light. DK tells us that Leo is the light of the soul, a reflected point of light logoic or divine. The light diffused in Cancer focuses and reveals eventually a point. Let us together open ourselves to the energetic quality of Leo, attempting to realize its profound relationship to the first ray of will and power and the fifth ray of science and concrete mind. Let us take a moment to ponder the esoteric mantra for Leo. I am that, and that am I. And finally, let us together visualize the following energetic downflow. Starting in the constellation Leo, flowing into and through Sirius, then down through the solar logos at the heart of the solar system, into Shambhala, then on down through our monads into the hierarchy, through the great Lord the Christ, and into and through the ashram with which you believe yourself to be increasingly associated. Then on down through the soul of this group, and finally into your spiritualized personality. Now, while as a group holding this high alignment, let us with love and compassion consider the world situation and imagine some one way in which the rebuilding energies of Leo might flow through us for the upliftment and redemption of humanity and of the planet. So, let us with hands upraised and intoning the Om 3 times, send a group blessing into humanity so that it may rise to its true spiritual potential and thus fulfill the divine plan. Let's finish with a great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men. The purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out. And may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Okay, thank you all.